welcome back in, everybody. Another edition of the 4D Chess Dynasty Trade Show, episode 9. And I promise for you YouTube viewers out there, I will not delete this one by accident. For those of you who just listen to podcasts, you missed the whole thing. We recorded a nice podcast for them, so you got that. And then I go to get the video edited for our YouTube page and realize that I deleted it, and Adam cannot edit it because I'm an idiot. So we improvised. We did a live trade show on the YouTube with completely new trades. So if you haven't checked that out, episode 8 on YouTube is not actually episode 8 on the podcast form because I'm a dum-dum. But hey, glad to have you back. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Helps us out. And on podcast form, rate and review. Adam, how we doing? Ready to do some trades, man? We got a 7-pack. 7-pack of deals to get into.
Always ready to get into it, man. Let's do it. Dynasty Trade Show episode 9. 4D chess style.
4D chess style. I love that. All right, here we go. Let's kick it off. We got Gabe Davis and a 23-second being acquired for the 22-204. Adam, what do you like here? Our boy Colby, Ohio State fan from the Ohio State University, getting the Gabe Davis in the 23-second package.
The Ohio State University. I'm not a Gabe Davis guy. I think his ADP is too high. But 204, Mike, is where I'm really comfortable pivoting out of this class. So even if you told me that like 204 to 23-second, him and Han, depending on who's at 204, I may or may not just take it. But if you're telling me that I can go get the 23-second and get Gabe Davis for 204, I mean, this is crazy. I don't know. Oh, it says down there Desmond Ridder. Okay, so somebody really wanted to reach on Desmond Ridder.
I'm good.
I'm way out. So, yeah, give me Gabe Davis in 23-second by a mile.
I think if you just, the 204 in general, for either one of those pieces on the other side. 204 for Gabe Davis. I don't like Gabe Davis, but shit, I'd rather have him than 204, depending on who's there. And apparently Desmond Ridder was the one there. So, yeah, give me Gabe Davis in that situation. And then the 23-second, I'm with you, man. I'm willing just to pivot and kick can down the road. I'll take the generic 23-second, move on with my life. So, huge smash for Colby. 1-2-2 from the Ohio State University. I got the D in there for you, buddy. I can't forget you.
I love that Mike is giving Ohio State this type of hype, and this is a start for a good night, you know?
Got to do it every now and then before we smash you come next football season.
Oh, man.
Just like last time. All right. Next trade we got Josh Jacobs being acquired for a package of Rashad Penny, Abram Smith, a 23 third, and a 23 second. Wow. I know people are down on Josh Jacobs, but geez, Adam, what do you think about this deal?
I mean, this is okay. Lineup. Josh Jacobs by quite a bit. Best ball. I think I'm still taking Jacobs, Mike, even though there's a plethora of assets over there. Probably makes it closer, but I'm still taking Josh Jacobs here in any situation.
I really thought you were going to say lineup, Josh Jacobs by quite a bit. And in best ball, Josh Jacobs by quite a bit.
Yeah, by like a little less, but still quite a bit.
That's truthfully where I thought you were going, because that's where I was going in my head. This is Josh Jacobs all day long, man.
Yeah.
Jeez, the hype on Rashad Penny has kind of gotten out of control. I assume that was like something people were. Abram Smith just feels like a toss-in, man. He went undrafted in most of these leagues that we're in. Unless people are really panicking on Alvin Kamara and think he's going to be the guy, like, I'll take a shot on him. But, man, as like an outright piece in a deal, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. And Rashad Penny, I'm a known Rashad Penny hater, much to the chagrin of some of my patrons. But, hey, it is what it is. So, you get a couple toss-in pieces. The third is just whatever, like a second and a bunch of for Josh Jacobs. Give me Josh Jacobs in any format. Easily.
Yeah.
Even on a rebuilder, man, I'd still want Josh Jacobs. Like, Give me. I'll trade him later. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out. I'm good.
I think, the only way I could even think about this is if like Bleed Green, that's not even his pick. Never mind. Like if that 23 second is supposed to be really early and you're rebuilding, maybe. But like to me, here's the thing, right? I think you kind of touched on it with Penny. I think the reasons that you and I seem so bullish on Kenny Walker are in reality, it's like there's a lot of people that are very down on Walker, and for some reason, based on a 5-game sample size, like we want to forget everything about Rashad Penny, everything prior. Like, were we not there when Chris Carson kept him off the field or injuries kept him off the field? And now it's like, you know what, man? Rashad Penny season after they took a guy in the second, and he's going to be healthy for the whole year, and he's going to be the lead back. It's like, pause, man. But recency bias is so crazy with Rashad Penny to me. And listen, I didn't hate Rashad Penny coming out of college, but this is just stupid right now, man.
I think it's time to move on from Rashad Penny. Like, it's just whatever, man. You touched on the injuries, the fact Chris Carson kept him off the field, the fact they turned down his 5th-year option, so he was a free agent and got to go out and explore, and everybody was like, nah. And then Seattle's like, well, I guess you can come back for a reasonable deal. And then what they do is, hey, we're going to go out in the 2nd round, and I know we're in a rebuild too, but we're going to take Kenneth Walker. How many more red flags do you need on Rashad Penny? But hey, I guess, man, maybe Sel Valette, who traded for Rashad Penny, is really Rashad Penny's sleeper name. You never know.
Yeah.
Hey, that's believing in yourself right there.
Right.
Adam, next one we got Treylon Burks being acquired for Chris Evans and Kenneth Walker. I know the Treylon Burks hype at one point was at an all-time high, and then recently we just did the AMA the other night. Seems like his value's in the tank and everyone's panicking. This trade is not indicative of that panic to me. I don't think it comes even close. What do you think here? Chris Evans and Kenneth Walker or Mr. Treylon Burks?
Well, it's interesting because we just did yesterday, we did an AMA and we started it off with the narratives and how the Treylon Burks hate for us has gone way too far based on narratives, really. So when I see this trade, initially I see just the top, Treylon Burks, and I'm like, okay, like here we go. I'm going to defend Treylon Burks. And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. Here's Kenneth Walker and a plus, which Chris Evans probably is not going to do much. I mean, maybe in best ball, if he gets a 3rd down roll, whatever. But anything with Kenneth Walker, like if you took Chris Evans out of this deal, it's Kenneth Walker every single time for me over Treylon Burks. You give me a plus. This is a smash on the Kenneth Walker side. Well done to our boy Liebert.
Yeah, man. Mr. Canada himself, way up there in Canada too. Like the
way north. Way north.
No, I love this, man. We've been on record many times. We would take Kenneth Walker in the rookie draft over Treylon Burks and not even think twice about it, no matter the format. So yeah, give me anything on top of it. Huge smash for me. If I were to play like devil's advocate, at one time, Treylon Burks was the 101 even in Superflex. So maybe, but I just don't see it, man. At the current state, too, with the market, man, you're paying 101 hype prices if you get Kenneth Walker and a plus on top, aren't you? It's kind of antithetical to that.
This smells like this just smells like a deal that you're trying to do something, but you end up fucking it up, because I think you're trying to maybe like say, oh, Treylon Burks is a guy I was high on, but now he's falling. But the reality is what you're saying is you're way too low on Kenneth Walker. And here's the reality, right? Take our bias and everybody else's bias out of it. So whether you think that Treylon Burks is being completely shit on and unrightfully so, or you think that Kenneth Walker's not that good, just take all those biases out of it and just say what the market's telling you right now, which is like when you go to startups, Mike, Kenneth Walker is 508, which to me is really low for him at RB18.
Yeah.
Even still, though, like take my bias out of it, RB18, 508. Treylon Burks is 607. So you're going down around an ADP and throwing in something, whether you think it's fuck all or not. Like, this is stupid. Like, yeah, I think this is just a deal you're trying to get big brand, and you messed it up.
Yep. Good job, Liebert. I love this deal for you. Fantastic for you, buddy. Way to go. All right, we got an MFL trade, and I always love how it just throws me off the different
Wow.
graphics. Like I'm a sleeper snob at heart, but I will throw MFL trade in here. We got Aaron Rodgers, Laviska Shenault, and a 23 first being acquired for Justin Fields and Terry McLaurin. There's some big pieces in here. It looks so funny on MFL. No offense to those guys. It just looks so much nicer on Sleeper. So easy. When they get the rookies in there too, you get the pictures. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole.
This is all right. So you started with that, right? And this deal to me is like puzzling because you're getting the 23 first, which I guess you can play it as a value. We do all the time. But like typically if I'm getting rid of Terry McLaurin, I'm thinking you're going to rebuild, but then you're taking on Aaron Rodgers. Like it's not even just the way this thing aesthetically does not look good for me as an MFL thing. It's like what is happening for Corey over here, right? Because Laviska is a piece that doesn't really fit the puzzle, and then you're getting way older at quarterback, and you're getting a 23 first from McLaurin. Like I don't even understand what directions everything's going in here. Because also, if I'm getting McLaurin for a 23 first, I guess I'd probably go to Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers. But like, I want that side to get down to the nitty gritty, Mike. Like, I want Justin Fields and Terry McLaurin. I don't know what Corey's trying to do here because if you get the first,
that reverse because it's MFL. Corey's the one getting the Fields.
Oh, sorry.
Yes. Yep.
So there you go. I have some of it wrong. So
let's not offend the man in case he's listening. Like, hey, I'm on a trade show and Adam's dunking up. No, he gets the Fields and McLaurin side. It's just MFL's bad.
Corey, I apologize. I like the side you're getting. I like the Justin Fields and the Terry McLaurin side of this deal. Like, I can understand personally, Mike. For me, I would need more than the 23 first for Terry McLaurin unless I know it's early. And even if you're going to do that, like, why are you getting rid of Justin Fields? This deal to me is just puzzling. Great job by Corey.
So the way I have it, Fields over Rodgers. And if you wanted to toss in Laviska, a guy we still have some hope for, probably wrong, but still have some hope for. Understandable. But then, like you said, the random 23 first for Terry McLaurin. Give me the McLaurin side all day. All day, every day, I will trade all of my random, as long as I know they're not early, 23 first for Terry McLaurin. So I will sell you on the fact that it's a 23 first. You should give me Terry McLaurin and ride that out. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
And like you said, too, the construction of the deal for Corey makes sense because he's getting the better players, and I like his side more. For the other side, I mean, you're trading a young quarterback for an old one who has a year, 2, 3, maybe 4 years left at tops. You're getting older. You're getting rid of Terry McLaurin, and you get back like a Dart and Laviska Shenault and 23 first. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for me. It's not a move that I would do on a rebuild or even because I don't want your Aaron Rodgers for my Justin Fields. I'll take some other piece that you have equal to my Justin Fields, but it needs to be a young one or another draft pick or two or whatever the case may be. You can keep Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to touch him. I'm good.
The only thing I can think of, like I've literally, as you've been talking, hearing you and trying to figure out, like, how can I make sense of taking this side? The only way I could see it, Mike, is if you are somebody that's a strong contender and you're worried about Justin Fields for this season, right? So, like, this is a move, like, I'm contending. Rodgers probably you're worried about too a little bit, but you're just like, for whatever reason, you're really down on Fields this season as a contender. And then you know that 23 first is an early pick that you feel like you can leverage later. Outside of that, like, unique scenario, like, I cannot make an argument for that other side. And it just seems so puzzling to me.
I could understand that a little bit. But, like, then I look at the McLaurin for the first and Laviska Shenault part then, and I'm going, am I going to get a better player than Terry McLaurin for a first in LaVisca? Like you said, unless I knew that first was going to be early and I could try to
Right.
leverage it. But just generic where it stands right now, the
No.
answer is probably no. Like I'm not going to go out and just get somebody better than Terry McLaurin on my
No.
contender. So not a move I'd make. But next
Nope.
one we got a little bit bigger, and of course,
7 goat rings is back.
this guy makes a trade show again. I need your secrets, buddy. He acquired Tyreek Hill, Albert O, Treylon Burks, a 23 first. And in return, he sent away Devontae Adams. So you're probably thinking to yourself, if you're listening to the podcast, okay, Devontae Adams, it doesn't get better than that. It gets worse. Cameron Brate, a 23 second, a 23 third, and another 23 second. So he gets Tyreek Hill, Albert O, Treylon Burks, and a 23 first. And in return, he sends away Devontae Adams, 2 23 seconds, Cameron Brate, and a 23 third. Adam, I don't even need to ask you which side you got because this is pretty easy, but your analysis on this deal.
This is weird, man. This is the episode of the 4D chess trade show where I'm trying to figure out what the hell these other sides are doing. Like that's what I'm trying to gain. So, all right, like if I'm this Raiders for life side, I can see you're like, you know what? Like this smells to me of someone that doesn't really understand the values and also is thinking like I'm worried about winning right now. Okay, so you think Hill's going to Miami, you're kind of worried about like what his target share is going to be, how Tua is going to be with him versus Mahomes. You think Adams, although he's also going to a new situation and a worse quarterback, you think Adams is going to be better this season. Okay, I can get behind that. We'll start there. That's fine. Then I think this is where, Mike, I'm getting into this as a guy that's really desperate to win now and doesn't understand values because Treylon Burks, we just talked about, right? The narratives and the slander, and he can't breathe. He's not going to be able to play. He can't run. He can't even condition, let alone play in a game. You're like, all right, Treylon Burks, I'm getting off of him. Albert O, I like him quite a bit, honestly, as a back end tight end 1 this season. And then you're seeing that 23 first you can't get in your lineup. And you think you're getting Adams, and then you're getting some seconds as opposed to the first. Like it's not that big of a loss. You're thinking like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate for the other side, but this is ridiculous, man. 7 goat rings. I don't even know how you do this. Like, this is just like, if you break this down, Mike, like if you told me I have to down tier from Devontae Adams to Tyreek Hill, like, okay, then let's even say you're going to get a 23 first for your 23 seconds. I'm taking that. But then you're left with Cameron Brate in the third for Albert O and Treylon Burks. Like, you could cut this up any way you want to, man. This is just disgusting.
Yeah, there's no way to really cut this up. If I look at it when I first saw it, Tyreek Hill and Devontae, you can cancel them out. Close enough for me, both those guys. So then the rest of the package, I mean, Treylon Burks for Brate in 2 seconds. Like, I'd still give me Treylon Burks. And Albert O for a third. And then you just get a random 23 first toss.
23 first for a 23 first at peak 23 first hype season for free.
It's so strange. It's so strange. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe it's like a best ball move. Let me put it in best ball terms. But if I'm in best ball, no way am I giving up Hill, Albert O, and Treylon Burks and my first for just essentially Devontae Adams and then a bunch of darts that I can't even use right now. Like, I got to cash those in later for something else. And I ain't getting those players back. Like, I'm not going to get a Treylon or an Albert O back caliber for a couple seconds, Brate in the third.
And here, you know what I'm doing, Mike? I'm over here trying to like make sense of it, 4D chess and values. This is simple. Raiders life, damn it. Raiders life went and got him Devontae fucking Adams, damn it. This is one of those simple, you know the name, you know the logo, and you play it up, and this is crazy.
Listen, you know that the thing that goes around, it's like, go get your guys or, do what makes you happy. Get players that you like on Dynasty. Sure, you can. You ain't going to win a lot of fucking money doing that way. Just saying. Because you'll make moves like this. You got to have some understanding of market value. Just some. Just a little bit. Come on.
He's just going to be happy watching his Raiders every week and getting to rooting for Devontae Adams, man,
Raiders may win, but he's still taking that L on when the score tallies on Monday night. Just say.
Oh.
Oh man! All right, we got DeAndre Swift and a 23-second being acquired for Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan. So at least we're getting closer on the spectrum here of value of deals. What do you feel about this one, Adam?
This is an interesting one, man. Like we're talking about all deals here as Superflex. And listen, you're not getting rid of DeAndre Swift for Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan and one quarterback. So we're just going to operate as this is
Yeah,
Superflex like
no
we
way.
always do. Now, this is the thing about this deal, which is interesting to me, Mike, because like it's rare that teams have the quarterback depth and surplus to send two quarterbacks away and get none back.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
especially when one's a top 10 guy,
Yeah.
and Russell
Yep.
Wilson.
Yep.
And even the other one's a starter. I mean, whatever you think of Matt Ryan, he's a back end quarterback too at worst. So, man, this is because I love Swift, but it's like, this is puzzling because, all right, like, if you be honest, like, I would take probably Swift slightly ahead of Wilson, but they're so similar in value. Like, I can see if you needed a quarterback pivoting off to go get Russell Wilson here, much as I love Swift. And it's like, man, if you're telling me I can send a second for Matt Ryan and Superflex, like unless I'm rebuilding, like I'm doing that. So I love Swift, so it's hard for me to go against that. But I think I'm taking the Lightning Panda side here, man.
All right. I'm going to approach this the fact that I don't have any context whatsoever because I would need a shit ton of context to be able to, like, what does Lightning Panda have for quarterbacks already? And what does he have for running backs that he feels good enough sending away Swift in a second to go get some quarterbacks? So what's your situation? On the other side, Black Trophy's acquiring DeAndre Swift. Like, bro, what is your quarterbacks? You touched on what's your quarterback situation look like that you could just send two away and not get one back? I've been there though. You and I have seen leagues where I have six quarterbacks, so I've been in that position where it's like, yeah, I could trade two of them away for a stud running back. So I've seen it. If I just operated under like no context and I just look at strict value, DeAndre Swift over Russ pretty easily for me by probably a half a round or so. And 23-second for Matt Ryan. I don't think Matt Ryan's worth a first. I don't think he's just worth a random 23-second either. He's kind of in that middle ground. So I think like the Swift side over Russ kind of makes up for that. So I would take the Swift in the second side. But this is my no context opinion of it if I don't know anything. But could change, man. If Lightning Panda definitely needed two quarterbacks and desperately, and he had the running back depth already, go get your quarterbacks, man. Go get them.
I think that's probably why I'm leaning on that other side, Mike, is because yes, if I have a bunch of quarterback depth and you can actually afford this, like yeah, I'd prefer to have Swift. I love Swift, but Mike, if I'm being honest about it, one of the harder things to do in Superflex, period, is go acquire a top 10 quarterback like Russell Wilson and not send a quarterback to go get him.
Yep. Yep.
Like if I'm just playing the reality of the market on top of the values for me, in a vacuum, do I want Swift over Russell Wilson? Yes. But how many managers are going to send you a top 10 quarterback and not get one back? It's not often, And then on top of it, you're throwing in another quarterback that we agree is ahead of a 23-second. So, like, for me, I guess if you had 5-6 quarterbacks and you really could afford this and you love Swift, I'm all in for it because I love Swift too. But it just seems so hard for me to believe that's the case.
Could be. If I look at it from a best ball context, I'd actually want the quarterback. So, I mean, we just did two
Definitely.
episodes on best ball and put a nice bow on the one. Yeah, you just give me the two quarterbacks. I think spike weeks, consistency, floor, how important the quarterback position is in best ball Superflex. As much as I love DeAndre Swift, and if I'm in a startup, man, I'm drafting DeAndre Swift before I probably draft Russell Wilson in most cases. But in a best ball league, that becomes a hell of a lot closer for me just because of the value of the quarterback spot in best ball. So
we agree there. Yep.
Russ and Matt Ryan in a best ball, I'm going to go Swift in the lineup if I ain't got any context. If I got some more context, it'd be something different. Let's just be honest. But,
Sure.
man, it just sucks seeing DeAndre Swift being dealt away.
I know. Believe me, the Swift love is hard for me to admit. But, yeah, this is an interesting deal. Very odd and very rare to see two quarterbacks being sent away with none coming back and a running back too, right?
All right, last one we got here. This one actually got some hate, but we've seen similar moves in our circles, our Discord.
Man.
So this one got posted in our Discord and South Harmon, patreon.com/South Harmon. If you want to get your trade on the trade show, that's a good way to do it. But the other way to do it, patreon.com/allgas, get you into Destination Devi, Dynasty Trade Show. That's where I pulled this one from, even though it got posted in both. But it was interesting that this trade in our Discord was like, bravo, way to go, good job, I'm not good. And then in the Destination Devi Discord, it was, what are you doing? Yeah, face palm. So the trade is, I'm not good, Patreon of both. That's why we got it in both. Acquired Devontae Smith, and in return, he sent away Chris Godwin. Adam, this is a controversial trade. Let's tell the people where we're at on this one.
Mike, this is interesting because before the trade show today, we discussed that we didn't have a deal to put in. Midway through, we went through an MFL deal. And we're in an MFL league together right now.
Yes.
That I'm so not really looking at those trades that go through on email. Like I've forgotten I made a trade this week in that league, but I hadn't screenshotted because it's just not like it's foreign to me still. Mike, do you know what that deal was?
Did it involve Devontae Smith and Chris Godwin?
It was. I acquired Devontae Smith and Randall Cobb in best ball for Chris Godwin. Literally, Cobb. It's almost this deal. So it's so funny because
Randall Cobb's a 0, so he doesn't really care.
Randall Cobb is at best a dart throw in fucking 25 roster best ball. So it's basically boils down to this trade. So I'm not good. One of our guys over in, shithead and also Destination Devi guy. Like, I think this is one of those things where, Mike, we're against market, right? Like we're basically admitted to. If you're tuned into this on YouTube or podcast, come check us out on YouTube because over at the McNutted channel, Mike is actually going to have a breakdown on Chris Godwin coming out in the next week, right? So another thing to get into a little more of like a 10-minute video detailing why we're down on Godwin as opposed to his current market value. And ultimately, like for us, I can understand where people disagree or don't understand where we're coming from. But a lot of what we do is operating on market value, what we believe value is going to be coming forward, and playing on the edges of that, right? And that's ultimately where it is with Chris Godwin. He's coming off a multi-ligament injury, right? ACL and MCL, which standard ACL, if you want to bet on the talent of Chris Godwin, wouldn't fight you. We got the MCL involved in that, and the reality for that being late in the season, like the way we play Dynasty, I'd rather have Devontae Smith, who I think right now is being depressed too much because of A.J. Brown coming over. I think he could be really good, maybe even better in that number 2 role where he's not forced to be the alpha and the offense is more wide open. So listen, if you disagree with this and you like Chris Godwin because it's the name and you still think like once he's healthy, he's going to bounce back and be better than Devontae Smith, like do you. I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to tell you you're stupid or anything. Like market's still saying that Chris Godwin goes ahead. But I believe that the better play is Devontae Smith, who is going to be in my lineup, especially on like a best ball team like mine. I'd rather have him in my lineup giving me wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 1 weeks all throughout the season, while Chris Godwin sits and is on the PUP list. And when he comes back, we don't even know what he's going to produce in my lineup all year. And ultimately for me at the wide receiver position, which is very deep, we're talking about in market right now, Mike, this is a roundish, right? Like a 6th to a 7th. And for me, 1 round in ADP for the wide receiver position, and I get a full year production versus maybe a half year of We don't know what kind of production at best. Like, I'm willing to make that pivot for that value. So that was me trying to summarize quickly, but also giving you the points of why I want Devontae Smith here.
I love it, man. You hit everything I was going to say. Good job. I'm not good. I love this deal for you. The last thing I'll touch on before we get out of here, not related to the deal, Adam touched on it when he started. He made this exact kind of deal, or pretty close. He put Randall Cobb in, it's whatever. Adam and I, when we evaluate these deals, we may give opinions that you guys disagree with, but the one thing I can promise you is that if we're giving you an opinion on a deal that we like this side or we like this side, it's actually something we would do in our own leagues with our own damn teams. So we're not blowing smoke up your ass. This is actually how we'd play it. So when you see Devontae Smith for Chris Godwin and you see the hate or the vitriol that comes, I'd never do that. What are you doing? It's crazy. Adam's out here to tell you, I did this exact same thing. Like, I'm in. This is where I'm at. When we do our rankings over on our Discord for our Patreons, when we have them up, we have Devontae Smith over Chris Godwin. Best believe if somebody sends me a trade of Devontae Smith for my Chris Godwin, I'm hitting the button. Now, I may try to finagle it, be like, like, look at the market value. I need something else. But in whole, I'm going to do that deal. So that's the way
Mike,
it is.
Before we get out of here, and I know I talked a lot about this deal, let's acknowledge that today is what, July 6th?
Yep.
Yeah, July 6th. Okay. We've been saying this for months. And I just told you guys that I think it's a 6 for Godwin and a 7 for Devontae Smith. But I think what Mike and I are kind of alluding to is based on the multi-ligament injury and what's going to happen as the season approaches is Godwin's going to miss training camp. Godwin's going to be a PUP candidate, and there's going to be a value loss. And here's what I need to get to before we get out of here, Mike, because people are probably going to be coming for our throats, and that's fine. I want you to. Okay. But I want you to acknowledge this, though. Honestly, Mike, ADP has now shifted to where Chris Godwin is 701. Now, this is what's interesting about Adeko's ADP is like the wide receiver numbers sometimes disagree with the pick, right? So like the way I'm looking at it, and maybe mine needs refreshed a little, is 701 is Chris Godwin and 703 is Devontae Smith. But I'm looking at wide receiver 25 for Devontae Smith and wide receiver 26 for Chris Godwin, which I think ultimately is saying that Godwin's trending down in ADP and that Devontae Smith is trending up. And if it's July 6th right now and we're saying that they're 2 spots ahead, different from each other, I can almost guarantee you when training camp comes around, that will be flipped and Devontae Smith will be going ahead of him in ADP. Now, if you want to take the Chris Godwin side and you believe in the talent and you believe that, like, even though his value may be lower, I think he's going to bounce back. Listen, do that. Go ahead and do that. But I think the reality is the market's already telling us that before we've even gotten to camp in the season, that the values are going to show what we're getting to.
I will say this for Chris Godwin, and then we'll bounce out of here. The Chris Godwin thing, we've been consistent, and we've been on that train for far longer than it seems like consensus has been. I remember back in February being highly concerned about Chris Godwin and ranking him appropriately for that concern. It just seems like recently the concern has caught up to where we were at before. So we haven't changed our tune on it. We're not jumping on the bandwagon of the Godwin hate, if that's a thing. But according to everyone's favorite ranking website, Keep Trade Cut, in February, he was wide receiver 12. He's down 10 spots, Adam. 10 spots since then. So 10 spots since February, and you're looking at damn near, 18 overall? 18 spots overall. So that's where the 6-round startup pick's coming into play. Because he used to be a 4th. Yeah. Even after we knew that he tore his ACL. We're talking February. It'd been like a month since he tore his ACL at that point. So Chris Godwin for Devontae Smith. Give me Devontae motherfucking Smith all day of the week. Good job. I'm not good. And I will stand here and I will fight the horde of angry commenters.
Slim Reaper, baby. Slim Reaper.
Slim Reaper to the moon, and it has nothing to do with his Eagles hat that I'm wearing. I'm just about the value, baby. That's all I am. I'm a hustler. All right.
The value king.
We appreciate you guys so much tuning in for our stupidness, our shenanigans. We love you. We're out of here. That's going to do it for another edition of the 4D Chess Dynasty Trade Show. Peace.
Peace.